Cronin spoke to reporters on Monday in Las Vegas, and he had this to say on Dame's future.
Dame's obviously a very important person and player to us. That, you know, what the rest of his career looks like matters to us, and we care about that. And at the same time, we have to do what's best for us, and we've got to find the right deal and find the right makeup of the team that we're going to build forward with. So you hope that you can find that perfect situation where that lines up and wants to, and you get the best return possible.
All right, now we bring an off-season perk. Kendrick, good morning. Good to see you, sir. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to start with you. It sounded like
Happy
you were
Friday, my good people.
Happy Friday. It's a feel-good Friday perk. It sounded like you were a little frustrated by what you just heard. So talk to me. Do you have a problem with stars having narrow trade destination lists, a.k.a. just Miami?
Hell yeah, I do. And look, I'm going to start off by saying this. It's a certain situation if it comes down to, you know, your agent working out something for as a player getting traded to a destination knowing that that player is going to get paid. I would never go against that. But after a player got his money, and if it's about winning, then there's no way in hell you're only pointing at or looking at trying to get traded at one team. The list has to be longer than that. Right now, just off the top of my head, I could think of 7 to maybe 8 legit title contenders out there, maybe even more. So if it's about winning and competing for a championship, then there's no way that your list is just narrowed down to one team. And it makes it difficult for you to get traded. Because at the end of the day, when you think about this situation, and listen, I'm not questioning Dame mentality for as him wanting to win. I'm just talking about the circumstances that we're dealing with right now. You know, I always said this. I strongly believe that Damian Lillard should have had about 5 or 6 teams on his list that he wanted to get traded to. The Lakers, the Celtics, Philly, you could try Denver. They just won it. I don't know. Hell, it's a lot of this. I strongly believe that Damian Lillard should have had about 5 or 6 teams on his list that he wanted to get traded to. The Lakers, the Celtics, Philly, you could try Denver. They just won it. I don't know. Hell, it's a lot of teams out there. But again, if it's about winning, then I do have a big problem with it.
I'm all for player empowerment, and I think it's been great to see in the NBA over the last several years. That doesn't mean that you don't have both sides living up to a contract. You have already seen the Portland Trail Blazers pay him $230 million, and he's got another $210 on the way thanks to the contracts that they have signed with him, and there is no trade clause in that deal. Dame Lillard has been loyal to Portland. That is a phrase that I have heard so much over the last few months, and I applaud him for not demanding one sooner, because we have seen players, when things get tough, they absolutely force their way out. He deserves to go to some place and have a chance to win. The problem is, you cannot expect your team then to take very little in return just for going to one place. You can't. If you're asking to only go to one place, you're basically saying, I'm going there and I'm going to make sure that you get nothing back for me. There's no leverage in the deal. You have to give them an opportunity. You want to give them 3 teams? That's acceptable to me. You can work within that. He doesn't have the Bradley Beal no trade deal. You want that? Negotiate it. You didn't negotiate it. I love Dame Lillard. I think he'd be amazing with the 76ers. I think they'd win a championship in Philadelphia if they traded for him. If he goes to Miami, to me, they're the favorites in the East. It's not about him playing. This is about killing an organization in Portland that cannot get free agents to go there. You have been the best player that they have had since Clyde Drexler, basically. What are they supposed to do to hopefully get the next guy? Maybe they draft him. Maybe Scoot Henderson's the next guy. But you can't attract free agents to go there. And so when I have you and you want out, I'll honor that. But you got to let me get enough in return for you.
The podcast that he went on, I think it was the end of the season was the kiss of death here, because that's when he initially came out and said Miami and Brooklyn, which one of these things is not like the other, and that's Brooklyn. Why would you want to go to, at that time, everybody had been traded. That's a rebuilding team. It didn't make a whole ton of sense, whereas Miami was a team that was in the midst of its playoff run going to the NBA Finals, and it had one of his closest friends in basketball on it. Didn't feel like that was the same case with the Brooklyn Nets. I think we're all kind of saying like similar things here. Like, you can't kill the leverage that your team has and take it away, because if you put Miami is my only destination that I want to go to, everybody's going to call their bluff. It's kind of like when we see players about to get released and, teams try these last-ditch efforts to trade them, and every smart team's saying, no, we're not going to give up draft capital when you're about to release this player. We're just going to wait until it happens, and then we'll claim him, we'll pay him, whatever. It's, I think both parties here used each other. Damian Lillard and everything that he did, he didn't have to sign that max contract 2 years ago. And Portland shot themselves in the foot when they should have traded it two years ago.
This is a move. Sign the contract and then go where I want.
But that's, in a way, it doesn't make sense that he went about it this way, because why didn't you do this 2 years ago? The writing was on the wall then. Joe Cronin admitted to fault over this thing. He said, I feel like I failed Damian Lillard because of the circumstances of the last couple of years not being able to build a contender around him. This wasn't a 2023 problem or 22-23. This was a problem that we've known about with the Portland Trail Blazers for years now. And had Damian Lillard not gone on that podcast, and trust me, I love when athletes are transparent about it, but it killed his leverage, because if he didn't go on that podcast and say Miami or Brooklyn, then they're looking at a completely different situation where Portland's probably already moved him, because there would have been other teams that thought they could realistically get in the mix. Kirk?
Well, here's the thing. When Dame Dollar signed that extension, is nowhere in hell he shouldn't have signed it. If you have that type of money on the table, damn it, you have to take it. And we're looking at a guy like James Harden right now, who's probably having regrets from passing up $100+ million extension when he was in Houston to passing up $150+ million in Brooklyn. And now look at the position that he's in right now. You never pass up for sure trying to get some more. I honestly believe if you go back and look 2 years ago, Dame mindset was to be a Portland Trail Blazer for life. He was just saying, okay, I'm committed to you guys. First of all, I earned this money. Second of all, I have kept this organization relevant for the last 7 to 8 years. Even when they were at their low, the only reason we was watching TV, the only reason we were tuning in when it wasn't a national televised game is to watch Dame Dollar put on the show. So at the end of the day, he had to sign that contract, because you cannot pass up your lettuce. But again, you cannot have your list down to one team.